Live. Welcome to the Writer's Life, the place where you get the sight, sound, smells, taste of my particular writer's life, and where you get the truth, even if it hurts, about the writer's life. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch out the like button and tap that bell for notifications, because you don't want to miss out on one exciting video, now do you? How exciting these are. So, after this long weekend where we were able to forget about the state of the economy a little bit. Well, I worked all weekend, so anyway. We are now back on a Tuesday, and the markets are tanking as usual, and the whole bit, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, in a few days, it's going to be official that we are indeed in a recession. And some people say it's going to be a bad recession. Some people say it's going to be, it'll be a recession, but not so bad, and whatever. Anyway, we all know. Anyone who's lived through recessions in the past, I've lived through a couple at least. Well, I lived through the Carter years. I was in grade school and high school, and it I guess things were really bad. It didn't really, tune into me, with me, because I was just a child. But I certainly remember the housing bust in 2008. I remember when the internet bust happened, and 2001 there was a little recession, and again in 2008 after that the housing bust there was a recession. Anyway, this one's going to be larger, and this one's going to be more painful. But the point of this whole thing is, what's the first thing to go usually? What's a company usually pulled back on when there's a recession and they have to, and they're faced with layoffs and things like that, and cutting back on other things? They let go of the advertising money. And that usually means that print magazines will either get a lot thinner, newspapers will get a lot thinner, or the print versions will start disappearing altogether. And once they disappear, they're probably not going to come back. Bookstores will suffer, and you get what I'm saying, the whole bit. It's going to be harder for those freelancers who survive only with their nonfiction, because they're going to be, many of them are going to lose clients, at least for a while, until this is over. And sometimes recessions can last like a year or so, maybe even longer. So I think in terms of nonfiction, it could be a real tough year for a lot of writers. Now, in terms of fiction, those of us who are prolific and can put out a lot of words at pulp speed, recessions can actually work in our favor. It did back 10 or 12 years ago when the economy was bad and ebooks were really taking off. And I believe it was because that people, they weren't spending a lot of money on entertainment other than streaming services, which back then was probably the only one I think was like Amazon or whatever. Maybe there was a Netflix back then, I don't know. But in any case, I could see, like ebook sales picking up, people buying short stories or buying, novels, for not the paperback novels for like $30, or the hardback novels for $30, but more like, the ebooks for like $3.99 or $2.99. Sometimes when they're on sale for 99 cents. The other day I did a Facebook post, and just to show people how bad things are getting in publishing, at least in the old traditional publishing world. I had a copy of the local Times Union newspaper. Now, that paper used to be, that's how I started as a stringer for them, a sports stringer, back in the very early 90s. Anyway, that newspaper used to be like this thick. It had advertising, flyers in it, and all sorts. I mean, I remember freelancing for them. Like, they take anything. I'd be like, I got a story on fly fishing. They'd be like, great, we need to fill the space. And if you were a half competent writer, you were good to go. And they'd give you a check. It was awesome. That doesn't exist at all anymore, not even close. But what I did was I took the recent edition one of the recent editions of the Times Union newspaper, and I put it in a plastic sandwich baggie. That's how it fit perfectly, like with room to spare. And then I also read an article about, maybe it was a Publishers Weekly article, but like how it's like some publishers are bragging about like maybe an author who's sold like 100,000 copies of like the brand new book, which is actually pathetic compared to what in the old days when you'd sell like 1 million copies. I've spoken with agents who have said like being an agent in these times is a fool's errand, and that's a quote. It's things are changing. Things are changing rapidly, but it's not all doom and gloom because there are great opportunities out there if you're really good at writing fiction, genre fiction in particular, and you're willing to spend the time in the chair and get the stories out. The Kindle Vella is a great opportunity for serial fiction. There's other serial fiction platforms. Then you can put that stuff together into a book and get it out there under your own label, or you can sell it to a traditional publisher. But again, on the traditional side of things with publishers, I think they're going to start having a hard time, an even harder time than they've been having. So we'll have to see. But I feel fairly confident about going forward because I do have one nonfiction account that is very solid, and they pay well, and it takes me maybe an hour a day, hour and a half at most, and it's consistent. And then the rest of the time I just spend writing fiction, and a lot of it, and it's been paying well. So with Kindle Vella, between their bonuses and other payments, I mean, I've made over the past 3 months at least as much as your average fiction advance I get from a traditional publisher. So, and that's only going to increase as time goes on because I'm determined to put a lot of material on Vella and then also make them into books, paper, audio, ebook. So hopefully during this recession, I won't feel the effects as much as those people who rely solely on writing nonfiction. I hope this makes sense. All right. I hope you're having a good day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. And ciao, ciao.